Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith came out in May of 2005 when I was 12 years old, and I remember it well. I saw it in theaters with my dad, who gave me the VHS box set of the original trilogy when I was too young to remember. But he sent me on the path to Star Wars fandom, so it was only fitting that he take me to what I assumed at the time was the final Star Wars movie that I would ever see. We suffered through episodes 1 and 2, and now got to sit down and watch a movie that could actually stand the test of time as a decent film and an important chapter in the Star Wars saga. So let's jump into it right away. I'm going to start with what I didn't like about Revenge of the Sith, and finish with what I did like so that we can end on a high note. First problem that I had with this movie is General Grievous. If you've watched my reviews of episode 1 and 2, you'll note that General Grievous is what happens when you keep killing off villains before we even get a chance to know them. After Darth Maul and Count Dooku, I had Star Wars villain fatigue. I see Grievous, who is this strange, not intimidating villain, and I don't even bother caring, because I know Lucas is going to kill him off in the next hour. While we're talking about him, I'll say that the lightsaber fight between Obi-Wan and Grievous is one of the worst ever. It's up there with Anakin and Count Dooku's from episode 2. Like, George thought to give Anakin 2 lightsabers in that fight, and in this one, was like, now what if a guy had 4 arms and fought with 4 lightsabers? It was just really stupid. My second gripe with this movie is that Lucas goes off the deep end with his use of CGI. Why on earth did nobody question his decision to put a real actor's head on a CGI clone's body? Really, the budget for this movie wasn't big enough to build one clone trooper armor set? This is just one example, but it's the one that annoys me more than anything else. Every scene in this movie is 90% CGI, and maybe some people don't think that's a problem, but for me it is. Here's just a few more little problems I had with Revenge of the Sith. Younglings. Anakin's turn to the dark side, which takes all of 2 minutes. More screaming, flying Yoda. And Palpatine's duck faces. Alright, now that I got all that negativity out of my system, let's talk about what was actually good in Revenge of the Sith. Episode 3 is widely considered the best of the prequel trilogy, and I won't argue with that. It's not even a close contest. First good thing about this movie is it doesn't spend too much time on Anakin and Padme's love story, which is great after what we had to suffer through in Attack of the Clones. I've got to mention that I think Ewan McGregor did such a good job of bridging the gap between his rendition of Obi-Wan and Alec Guinness's. There's some interesting behind-the-scenes stuff that shows the lengths they went to trying to create a feeling of continuity between the actors, so kudos for that. Hayden Christensen's not great in this, but it's a huge improvement from Attack of the Clones, so I guess good job. But once again, I love all things Mace Windu. Lucas must have recognized how great of a job Samuel L. Jackson did, because in every movie, Mace Windu's part gets bigger, and in Revenge of the Sith, his role is monumental. He's essentially the catalyst that turns Anakin into Darth Vader by not agreeing to let Palpatine stand trial. Apart from Anakin's immediate turn to the dark side, I loved Order 66. For some people, it was just a bunch of random Jedi dying, but for a nerd like me, it was characters that I knew from video games and stuff like Ki-Adi-Mundi and Plo Koon. The John Williams score going on in the background and Yoda dropping his cane because he senses all of the Jedi dying. This could be the best scene in the movie. And I liked how they brought in Senator Organa, again, to bring a feeling of continuity. All the scenes that take place on Organa's ship from the beginning of A New Hope are great, and if I remember correctly, it was a practical set. Alright, so let's talk about the final lightsaber fight. I think that this one is a love it or hate it for most people. A lot of people consider this the best lightsaber fight in the saga up to this point. I'd probably say that the fight at the end of Phantom Menace is the best, but I liked certain parts of this one. Yes, it's over-choreographed as hell, but some of it works. Some parts look stupid, but some parts look really cool. And regardless, when you realize that Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen really did all of this after like months of preparation, you have a lot more respect for them. I guess what Lucas was going for was 2 Jedi Masters at the peak of their abilities going at it, which would kind of look like a choreographed dance where each could anticipate every move that the other was going to make. Did it go on a little too long? Yeah. Did I think the whole I have the high ground Anakin was a satisfying ending? No. But Ewan McGregor's acting throughout the fight was so good. His delivery of every line like, "I failed you, Anakin," or "You were the chosen one," it was all just great. Probably the most believable emotions ever conveyed throughout the prequel trilogy. A lot of people think that the best part of this movie is how the ending ties everything up nicely and sets the stage for A New Hope. I didn't have a problem with any of the nostalgia scenes at the end, but they definitely weren't my favorite thing about the movie. It's not perfect, but thanks to a fast-paced plot, a performance from Ewan McGregor that exceeded my expectations, a pretty cool lightsaber fight, and an overall darker tone, Revenge of the Sith easily outranks the other films in the prequel trilogy. For these reasons, Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith gets a rough score of 72%. What do you know? One of the prequels actually turned out to be a pretty good movie. Let me know what you think about Revenge of the Sith in the comments section below. Leave a like if you did, subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.